Hi, I'm Judy Dick, and I'd like to give you a few coloring tips for my new coloring book, Shalom Coloring III, Animals of the Bible. Animals present a unique problem. You can have a lot of fun coloring animals, but what do you choose? What are the colors you go for? You can definitely go wild and pick all the colors in your box. Or perhaps you want to learn a little bit from nature and actually look at animals. So the concept we're talking about today is something called local color. Looking and noticing the natural color of an animal, of let's say the grass, which would be green, a tree trunk might be brown, the sky is blue, my hair is red, some say, maybe orange. That's what we call natural color or local color. Yes, it is natural. Now, if we're talking about animals, so obviously we have the lions, the camels, their natural color is in the range of yellows and browns. Frogs would be greens. Tropical fish, easy. Pick any color. And remember, when you're combining all of them into one scene, you want to balance that color palette. So let's start with details and then move into how you plan a whole composition using natural colors. So let's look at a hummingbird. Oops. Hummingbirds come in lots of colors. The one I chose this time has a lot of blues and purples, and it's iridescent, it's shimmery. So I kept that in mind. And I liked that there was a little bit of yellow, a little bit of green. So when I colored in this detail, I used a little bit of range of blues and of purples. I left some white so that that's as if the light is hitting some of the shimmering wings, and you just can't. It's a little bit like bright, very bright, so bright that it's light or white. And then I introduced a few tints of yellow, and that way I could pick up that yellow for the bright, contrasting background. That's just one tiny detail. So you have to keep going, but you have to keep thinking about how every piece balances out. Okay, another example is a peacock. You notice the peacock has a bright, bright blue body, lots of nice bright greens, and if you look closely, some orangey tones too. So there was my palette straight away that I could have fun with. Now it's an abstract pattern here. I went with the greens. I created a lighter orange tone by creating texture with a marker, so it's not really bright in this area, although it is over here where I picked it up. And then I created the body of the peacock. I made it a little bit more three-dimensional, varying the blue tones. And that part pops out. I just felt like making something three-dimensional. Again, we're not talking about a science book here, so you're looking at the photos and at nature just for inspiration, and then have fun with it. But what about the whole composition? That's what we talked about, right? So, I have a nest mandala, basically. Now, I really wanted it to have a soft, natural feel, and that's why I also chose my media carefully. Instead of markers this time, which gives you a flat, bright, abstract feel, I chose colored pencils for a much softer tone, so I can blend and I could have the texture of like feathers and the nest. So that's one thing to think about aside from color. Now I know, a nest, what's a nest? A nest is browns and yellows yet again. But I wanted that soft range of color earth tones. I know that my sparrows are basically also going to match that. So where do I get my pop of color? The swallow. Here's your nest, but a swallow has more blues and reds. Its head is an iridescent blue, its wings are more blue, and it has some rust areas also. So that way I could have fun and again intensify those colors just to create some contrast in this nest mandala. Back over here, we have the swallows, and then we have a nice repeating motif. Then I could have some fun with some contrasting greens, mix up some blue into those eggs, and yes, some of them are bluish tinted. And you have a very nice, natural looking composition that also has a little pop of color there. And lastly, you can always have a little extra fun going back to that bright kind of pattern with my little tortoise, because as you know, they say, slow and steady wins the race. Maybe it won't win the race, but it will at least keep you calm as you color these animals.